Welcome to More Than Renovating, a renovate and real estate podcast. Our founder, Belinda Smith, talks to industry experts to provide you with the knowledge and information you need to make renovating for love and profit your reality. Belinda will also chat to some of her Renovation Mastery members, who are just everyday people doing extraordinary things, following their passions in the renovation and property space. So, let's jump straight into the episode. Enjoy.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Belinda Smith from Renovate and Real Estate, and this is the More Than Renovating podcast. We all understand that renovating is the vehicle of creating wealth and financial freedom, but along the road, there are lots of little bits and pieces that we need to cover off on and be good at. And today I welcome Kylie Walker. Kylie Walker is from propertymindsetdynamics.com.au. Kylie is an amazing coach, business coach and life coach. In the end, we've had many conversations, Kylie and I, because we're both in the coaching space in one way, shape or form. And we recognize that there are successful traits that are common in amongst people who actually get going, whether it be in property or their business. So today we're talking about traits of successful people. Welcome, Kylie.
Hi, Belinda. Thank you for having me here.
You're so welcome, Kylie. Look, we laugh and cry together sometimes while we discuss things that we're both doing in our businesses. But in short, we recognize some real similarities between people or of people who actually get stuff going. So whether it be in the property development space, the property renovation space, business, or in life. And let's just kind of break down some of the things that we've witnessed and seen in people where they actually set themselves some goals and they reach those goals. I'm going to start with this. I think that successful people, they really focus and taking action in one course of events. So they have focused action.
I agree. So they need to be clear on the outcome that they want to achieve. And then from there, when you have that clarity, then you know what actions you need to take in order to achieve that goal.
And action, imperfect or perfect action, Kylie?
Often when we're waiting to take perfect action, we end up getting caught up in a cycle of analysis paralysis and procrastination. And so when we're in the property space, there's a lot at risk at times. And so many people don't want to make a mistake. And so they don't do anything. And that in itself can become the biggest mistake of all. Because you think about the opportunity cost of not taking action and of staying stuck and in just the desperate search of more and more information in order to be able to make a decision. And I know from the hundreds of people I've coached over the years in the renovating, developing, and just the investing space, well, not just, also the investing space, is when people are so fixated on not making a mistake, it paralyzes them and stops them pretty much from doing anything. They'll invest more and more in courses and education. And most people I know already, or most people I've coached, already have enough information, or they have access to all of the information and resources they need. They just need to be able to unlock themselves and unlock the fear that's stopping them from taking the actions they need to take.
Exactly. I remember Brett and I went to New Zealand. We went there specifically to buy property. There was one lady on the bus. We were on this little bus tour and we had buyers agents lined up. We viewed probably 7 to 10 properties a day. We're on the fly. We did that for 4 days. On the 5th day, we put in all of our offers. One lady on the bus did the most detailed physios on every single property, but never ever bought one. She was tangled up trying to be perfect, tangled up wanting to only move forward on something she determined was never ever going to cause her any issues or was the perfect property. But we were looking at properties that needed renovating, older properties. There's no such thing as a perfect property when you're looking at older properties. So Brett and I, we were leaning into her. So were other people on the bus, mind you. We're all saying, hey, you know, what did you think about this property? Boom, making offers to real estate agents. We bought 4 properties in that 5 days, and most other people bought quite a few too. This lady was still sitting around waiting for the numbers to work out just so perfectly. Just there was zero tolerance for imperfection. I see people just not making any steps forward because they're waiting for the perfect. The perfect does arrive sometimes, but by the time the perfect arrives, somebody who thinks faster and can move faster has already grabbed it or has already got something happening. So never worry about the perfect. Just move those steps forward, keep moving forward, and sort things out a little bit on the fly. And it's those people that I see that just have laser focus on what they want to accomplish, who just keep going at it and only that, and trying to knock out other things that distract them along the way. They're the ones that I see that just get there in the end.
Mm-hmm. And I think when we're doing our research, like you described with that lady on the bus, so she's got wanting to gather as much information as she possibly can. And clearly she had an issue with actually making the decision and pulling the trigger, so to speak. But I think it's important to have the information. We don't want to jump in and not make educated decisions. We
Agree.
want to have our eyes wide open so we've got the information we need. So the positives and the benefits of this deal or this project or this property, looking at the negatives and looking at the risk of that, like what could go wrong here, and then just determining if you're comfortable with that risk. So there's always risk in property, no matter what.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I think there is always risk to some extent.
Yeah, me too.
And
There's a
yeah.
risk in investing, but there's also a risk in not investing. There's a risk in
Mm-hmm.
just sitting and waiting with money in the bank, hoping that your money outplays inflation, or inflation
Mm.
doesn't outplay your saved money. Like there's risk in action and in inaction.
Mm. So if you understand your numbers and you're looking at a property or a project and you're worried that you're paying too much and maybe it's just a small amount overall above what you wanted to pay, or the numbers aren't that big in the big scheme of things, the risk of missing out on that deal in itself is the worst risk to be taking.
Yeah, so action and imperfect action is just better than doing nothing at all, especially when it comes to property. I see that successful people have a trait where they may not be the most intelligent person in the room,
Mm-hmm.
aka probably me. Um, but I'll call it a big engine. Just the ability to keep going and going and going and keep at it over a long period of time. Like just the same, with the same focus, the same job, the same goal in mind over a long period of time. It's like an endurance race. They're my thoughts. Have you seen people keep at things for a long period of time? I truly believe that if you are on a winner, aka property investing, we know it works, and you keep at it for a long period of time, it's inevitable that there be success in that realm. And I see it in people's business too. So where have you seen it in people?
I see that it is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
I work with a number of people that want to get the results straight away and they put so much pressure on themselves. And I was in a session last week with a client, and I said to her, most people overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years. I know the official quote is 10 years, but I brought it back to 5 years in this instance. So I think when we're looking at the results that we want to achieve in property and we look at it from that longer term perspective, they're not expecting to change your world in 1 year. So they put so much pressure on yourself. You want to be able to take the action that you need to take, but you want to be able to take action with that longer term vision, knowing that as you're building the skills, as you're learning how to do the research, as you're learning how to negotiate and learn all the skills that you need to learn in the property investing, renovating space, then you're learning these skills for the long term, and you're going to have the bumps in the road. You're going to experience the ups and downs. But if you're really connected to that vision and you're committed to the goals that you want to achieve, then you'll keep taking the action despite the setbacks. So if you're looking for a get rich quick deal overnight, or if you're looking at, wanting to change your world in 1 year, then when you have these setbacks, it's really going to throw you off course and it's really going to affect you. But if you're looking at it from a longer term perspective, you can stabilize yourself more easily, going, okay, I've just got to pick myself up and dust myself off. And if I just keep taking these actions I need to take, then you will keep continuing forward to achieve your goal.
I agree. And those actions, those steps that we all need to take and that the successful people do take, that also involves building a network, building a support team around you, And I think that, being kind to people and building that network and just giving and taking, that's what really opens up the floodgates to success. The more you talk about your business or your goals and the more you're in it, once you start taking those steps, then things just tend to flow for you. I can go really woo-woo here and we can talk about manifesting, but I really think that manifesting on its own, like sitting on a hill in Byron Bay with your legs crossed looking up into the sun, is not going to create wealth on its own. It might feel good in the moment and calm you down if you've had a really frantic few weeks, but it is taking those actionable steps forward, and it is creating a network around you where you've got people at your fingertips that you can call on, that you can trust, who light you up, who lift you up. All of that network is really important. So I think successful people, they build their network and they just keep on plodding along.
I agree. And when you're surrounded by growth-minded people, it's amazing how your mindset opens up and how you start to really focus on the potential and the possibility rather than all the reasons why it won't work. So I know when I've spent a lot of time with my property friends versus my friends who aren't in the property space, the conversations are very different. And the risk tolerance of these different groups of people are very different as well. And so if you're a bit wobbly in your mindset and you're having some setbacks in the property space, if you go and share those concerns with people that are in the other world, they're probably going to say, oh my gosh, it's so risky. Oh gosh, should you really be doing this? And they'll really feed your fears.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were able to only talk about those challenges with the people that are also doing a similar thing, you'll get a very different type of support from them. And often you just need to have the reassurance that, you know what, yeah, I've been through difficult times as well, and you will get through this. Or just keep doing the work, your deal is just around the corner. But the like-minded, growth-minded people are the people that will keep you going when you need it most.
Yeah, I agree. And especially people that are a couple of steps ahead of where you want to be. When you see people that, and your network becomes people that are just a couple of steps ahead, but you look at them and you look at yourself, not in a judgmental way, but in an assessment way, and you just think, wow, they're just like me. They're really not any different. They're just the same kind of person with the same kind of family things that come up and the same obstacles in their path and kids and nanas and all that kind of stuff, and you see that what they're able to achieve, and it just makes it more real. At the same time, they're on your team saying, yeah, you can do this, I've done it, you'll be able to do it too. Makes such a difference than hanging out with the negative Nancy's of this world that just want to bring you down to, sometimes I think it's where they like you to be, where they want you to stay because it feels better for them, under the guise of they love you and they want to keep you safe. But at the same time, it can keep you really stuck, and you said it before, bring up all of the fears, start to really create that big fear barrier, which stops you from taking the steps forward that you need to take to get there in the
Mm.
end.
Yeah. And when we're on this property journey, it starts off being about wanting to increase your wealth. Like
Yeah.
that's why we do it. But it ends up being a personal journey. So
Oh, you betcha.
we change as people along the way. So the people that want to keep you safe, or from, shall we say, the old world, because we are entering a new world as we're growing and evolving and really starting to work on our personal growth. Because when you're in the property space and you're taking risks and doing uncomfortable things, you are forced to grow as a person, whether you want to or not. If you don't, you're not going to get very far in this space. And so the people in the old world know the old version of you. And that's okay. But as you're growing and evolving and you're changing because your mindset's opening up and you're really leaning into the possibility and you're wanting to stretch and challenge yourself, you won't be resonating with the different groups of people quite the same anymore. This is why it's so important to lean into your communities and lean into that network of like-minded people. So as you're going through that transition and that personal growth, you need to be able to connect with people that are also in the same space. And like you said before, when people are a few steps ahead of you, it's such a great source of inspiration. So you can have your mentors who are on stage teaching you strategies and teaching you information. And for some people, their mentors will feel a bit out of reach from where they're at when they're starting out.
Yeah,
So
true.
Yeah, so when you have peers around you that have achieved success and they're a few steps ahead of you, often that's even more encouraging than the amazing successes of the super successful people at the very high level, because there's a distance between where you are and where they are. And sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could ever be that. But if you're really connecting with the people that are a few steps ahead of you, because they're closer, you can see a lot more of you in them and them in you. And it makes it easier for you to bridge that gap, especially when you're a beginner.
Do you think that's why in-person workshops and being in groups and group training helps a lot?
I do. We learn a lot from our peers.
Yeah.
So often when we want to learn information, we want to learn it from the mentor, we want to learn it from them themselves.
Yeah.
And but I actually think that we learn great information from them, but we learn so much from our peers. And we find that support and we find that like-mindedness when we're having the conversations and sharing our successes and our setbacks and our fears and the experiences that we've had. We learn a lot from each other. Sometimes it's underestimated and underrated.
Yeah, the community.
Yep.
All right. Another successful trait I see in people is a constant yearning to improve. So whether it be percentages of profit made on property, whether it be the speed that they do a renovation, whether it be in the way that they look after themselves on the daily, their time out, how they manage their time, like it's just constantly yearning to improve the little things that all add up to be a big thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's those little actions that you take every day. It's also they focus on their mindset as much as they focus on their business.
Yeah, they do.
So of course I'm going to bring it back to mindset because I'm a coach.
No,
So
but
it's
you know
those
what? So you and I, that's why I have you here, Kylie, and that's why you're involved in my community too, and I'm blessed to have you as part of my community. It's three-quarters of the game. So anybody who's listening and thinks that they might not have the money to get started, there's so many people who start from next to nothing and they just get it going. And there's so many people who start businesses from ground zero, I call it, and they get it going. Mindset is it. Mindset will outstrip anything,
Mhm.
any position of wealth. It really, it really is it.
And I've coached such a range of people in the property space, from people just getting started and achieving extraordinary results, doing $50 million worth of deals and stuff like that, and also doing renovation flips, building their investment portfolio. It's their mindset that sets them apart. So it doesn't matter where you start, it's the actions that you take that really determine the level of success that you achieve. I've seen people or coach people that have a wealth of experience and they've had setbacks, I guess, similar to mine. I had half a dozen properties. I didn't really have a strategy. I sold properties I should have kept. Oh my gosh, I wish I kept them all.
So do I.
Far out. I wouldn't have to get out of bed and I'd be rolling around in bucket loads of money is the line I often say. If I knew now, if I knew then what I know now.
Yeah.
But I've seen people that have had great property portfolios and they've had setbacks. I had a pretty big setback in the GFC with the project that I was involved in and the ripple effect from that.
Yeah.
So I've seen people and worked with people that have been in a similar situation and they've not been able to recover. So they're doing more courses and they're gathering more information. What they actually really need to do is more of the mindset work and more of the deeper inner healing work to overcome those setbacks and the fears that have been created because of the experiences that they've gone through.
Yeah, I agree. We carry the baggage of our own selves, plus we carry the baggage of those people that have influenced our lives right from when we were 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are years that everyone talks about, those years being, the years that frame us, that kind of make us who we are. So the messaging from our parents about wealth and money and success and hard work and all those things really carry through our lives, and they do impact our ability to make decisions. And if we've had something turn awful for us, something that's turned to poop or something that's not been a good outcome, then yeah, we carry that extra baggage too when we're starting to think about what we might do next or moving forward on a deal. Yeah, we're dealing with a lot and it's all in our heads. It really is all in our heads. The money's the money. It's there. You can see how much you can borrow from the bank. You can see what income you already earned. That's a like a really tangible thing. What's in our head is a different beast. All right, so that brings me to the last trait of successful people, that they welcome success into their lives, that they're not afraid of success. Maybe at first, but they get used to things coming their way and being good, and are able to open their hearts and mind to accepting things that they might have always thought were impossible for them to achieve or earn. I think of money per month. People set goals and they think, oh, if I can earn $10,000 a month, that would just be amazing. That would be a game changer. And then they start to earn that amount through property or whatever they're doing in their business. And then they set a new goal of 30,000 per month and think, oh my goodness, this would be phenomenal. And then they grow into that. And money no longer seems like it's a bad thing or an unattainable thing. It's just a thing. So accepting success and accepting growth, and believing that you're worthy of success and growth, that's my take on the final trait. I think that is really important. Otherwise, that's when you hear about, those people who earn or win the lottery and the next minute they've blown it, they've blown it all. That's the final trait, guys, is just being willing and open and feeling worthy of the good things that come your way.
And being around like-minded people can help to support you as you are achieving your goals and as you are working through all of the emotions that come up when you are becoming the person that you've always wanted to be and you are achieving the successes you want. Because there's a lot of people are afraid of their failures, they're afraid of their successes too, which is what you've touched on. So it's a real thing. So if ever you feel like you're being held back or you're reaching this upper level limit, there's a book written about that and talks about the upper level limits, how you'll start to self-sabotage when you hit this internal upper level limit, because perhaps you don't feel like you're worthy of the success or the love or the happiness or your dreams coming true. So it's so important that we are aware of our actions and that we're taking responsibility for the actions that we are taking and that we're not taking, because they really impact where we go and what happens next.
I agree. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Kylie, to our traits of successful people?
Yes, they take radical self-responsibility.
Yes.
So they own everything that's going on.
Yes,
so
the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. Yep. We can all find all of these reasons and excuses why it's hard, why it didn't work, and all of that kind of stuff. But ultimately, if you truly want to achieve the success that you say you want, you have to take responsibility for everything that's happening in your life, whether it's fair or unfair. So things will happen. Good things will happen. Challenges will happen. You'll be let down. You'll be disappointed. You'll also be pleasantly surprised. The whole range of all of that is what's involved in this property space, because there's no guarantees with anything. There is just you doing your research, doing the work, making calculated decisions, staying consistent, staying persistent, doing what you need to do, and taking responsibility for the outcomes. Like, you have to own it. You seriously have to own your results and where you're at. And working on your was that powerful?
Kylie. And to work with Kylie, you can contact her at oh, it's so true though. We are, what's it called? There's a saying about it. It's like we are the result of all of the decisions that we've made along the way, the good and the bad. Like, we're in it. We're in this moment because we've created this moment for us from all of the things we've decided to do or not to do from a long time ago.
And something that's really important, actually, I've got 2 points I'll make here.
Yep.
One of the fundamental things that we learn as a coach is nothing has meaning but the meaning we give it.
Yep.
So when something happens, it's not the event that happens that is generally the issue. I know some very challenging things can happen. I've had plenty of those happen in my world.
Yeah.
But what matters most is what you make it mean. And when we're super clear on what we've made this situation or this event mean, then we can look at how that's affecting us.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
So it's not what happens, it's the meaning that you attach to the thing that's happened is what matters most. So that leads me to the next point I wanted to make, is the importance of really building your inner resilience. So we've touched on the challenges in this whole roller coaster of a journey it is that you can be on at times.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to emotionally regulate yourself when you're going through the highs and the lows of the property space and during times of uncertainty and doubt and when you have to make big decisions.
Yeah.
So when you have to make big decisions, you go back to the data, you go back to your research, you go back to your numbers, and you rely on those. Something that I suggest to my clients is writing down a decision log. So when you have to make a decision, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I should be doing here. And you've gone through the positive and the negatives and all of the different aspects of this decision. I ask them to write it down. So then when they get to the point that they've made that decision and then they flip into the doubt afterwards, I suggest they go back and read their decision log, and that reminds them of why they made the decisions and the data they had at the time.
Yeah.
So even if things don't go according to plan, even if there is a plot twist, rather than beating themselves up, they can go back to the information that they wrote down, the decision log, and go, okay, based on what I knew then, this is the reason why I made that decision. And that really helps people with their self-acceptance, with knowing that they made the best decision they could at the time.
It also helps people with their acceptance of other people around them and the action that the other people have taken that maybe even affect their lives. When we look at things that have happened to us or we've been in amongst or associated with, those people were doing whatever they were doing at that moment with all the information that they had at home at hand, and hopefully with the best intentions. So it's a really nice way of looking at the situation and maybe forgiving other people around us for things that have happened in our lives as well. It's very powerful. Thank you, Kylie.
You're welcome.
All right, last nuggets.
When you master your mindset and you stop second guessing yourself and you truly back yourself, that's when you'll get the wins. When you keep taking the actions you need to take and you keep showing up, just keep doing the work. Don't expect the get rich quick things to happen for you. Yes, some people achieve great successes, but you know what I'm most impressed by are the people that have successes and stay persistent and stay consistent and achieve their longer term goals and successes over a longer term, because anyone can just wing it and have extraordinary success because, inverted commas, they were lucky or they timed the market well and they were riding the boom of the property cycle. I did that. I felt like a superstar. Anyone can do that if you're taking action and just buying. But it's, can you continue to create success and do profitable deals regardless of where the property cycle's at, because you've learnt the skills that you need to learn, that you're taking the educated actions. So you're educating yourself and you're taking the actions that you need to take, and that you're continuing through regardless of the setbacks. The success achieved over the longer term, I think, is what's most impressive.
Me too. Consistency and resilience over a long period of time. It gets people there. I've seen it. Actually, I've not seen people fail who've just kept showing up, kept showing up, kept showing up, kept showing up. That's the truth. In working with now more than 800 in the Renovation Mastery Group, and personally 34 people launching their own businesses in the renovation space, like really taking it next level. Same with you, Kylie. You've just worked with hundreds of people at this point, and just that consistent theme. We were talking about it the other day, and I'm so glad we've been able to share it with you guys. Any last words, Kylie Walker?
Yes, fear will always show up. It's a theme that I speak to and I hear in so many people that I work with or that reach out to me. Fear is always going to be there. It's just how you manage fear that matters.
So true. All right, guys, follow us at Renovate and Real Estate. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done it so you don't miss a thing. And you are so welcome to connect with Kylie Walker directly at propertymindsetdynamics.com.au. Thank you so much for joining me, Kylie.
Thank you, Belinda.